It all comes down to this, the final day of the VALORANT Challengers North America Mid-Season Cup, and two teams remain. Turtle Troop going up against Oxygen Esports. I cannot wait to get started with today. It is going to be an absolute banger. My name is Sierra, and joining me on the desk, well, I have Vans and I have Psycho. Vans, great stuff. It should be great. I can't predict the future, but I think pretty safe to say great stuff on the horizon here.
100%. I for sure cannot predict the future because I was not expecting that these would be the two teams going to the grand finals of the mid-season cup. To see Turtle Troop against Oxygen, it's quite a surprise, but I'm still happy that I'm here to get to do this on the desk with you. Sierra, Don, D-O-N. Get it? Nice little duo there on the desk.
I see what you did there. I mean, you're talking about this being a nice surprise. It's like, I think that sums it up nicely. Looking back at these teams, I mean, they have been strong throughout all of Split 1 here in Challengers. But if you had asked anyone what two teams they thought were going to be in the grand finals, I think a lot of people would have swayed the way of M80 and MXS.
Yeah, I think just based on the numbers and the vibes, so to speak, I think that's what people were leaning, right? But this is an Oxygen who is showing us flashes of brilliance that we haven't seen from them since the offseason, when they were racking up off-season tournament wins, both online and on LAN, even against partnered teams. And everybody was looking at this team going, oh my goodness, it's going to be a tough challenge to beat this team, right? And then on the other hand, you have this Turtle Troop team who, you know, they had a pretty good Split 1. You know, they weren't on anybody's radars. They're not sponsored by a big organization. They don't have the flashy support that some of these other teams do, but they made waves that last week by beating M80, and you know, look at them in the semifinals here, beating M80 once again, and they're doing it with a substitute player, right? So this is a team that is not to be underestimated, and they've shown that time and time again.
I think that's the exact thing. For Turtle Troop, it was the exact opposite of as how you were introducing Oxygen. When you were looking at this team during stage 2, they're like, oh, well, looking at the group B, it should be an easier group. TTR shouldn't be that high. Everybody's looking to see like probably TTR and I think TSM, if they're in the same group, to be at that bottom, and everybody else trying to go throughout the mid-season cup. And now they made it to the top of their group. They actually upset some teams. We were potentially not supposed to see Don on a desk today because it was M80 in the grand finals. It wasn't. We were gonna have Psycho. Probably would have had Roy, but unfortunately, we get to see Don. In like, I guess it's pros and cons of having Don on the desk today.
A little give, a little take here.
Exactly.
That's right.
Let's dive a little bit more into talking about these teams and the magic that brought them to this point, because maybe they have been overshadowed by a couple of these other teams that have been deemed kind of the powerhouses of the groups. But when you look at Oxygen going up against Turtle Troop and look at the players and the talent they have on the squad, I feel like overshadowed is definitely the right way to be putting it, because there is a lot of talent here. Players that have prestige experience going on back, like people who are competing and doing really well last year. So this is a great opportunity to see where they've grown and if they can take the championship title here.
Yeah, I think to just bang to what Don was saying before too is when you're looking at Oxygen Esports and what they've been playing throughout the offseason with the Tarek and Ludwig Invitational and playing other teams that were like grinding this tier 2 scene, you're always looking at the top 3 teams of this stage of who could make it to Ascension between M80, them, and also Moist X Shopify. But when you're looking at names that are under the banner of Moist X Shopify, having like Ludwig as a CEO or Nitro as an IGL from M80, they're always going to be, under the shadows of those high profile names. But when it comes down to how they're able to frag in the server, they're looking so good as a group and as a unit. And quite honestly, if you're looking at, the grand finals now and you're trying to predict these two teams going head to head, I still think now you're giving a lot of praise and a lot of hope for Oxygen to even close it out in this series today.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle Troop are coming into this looking like potentially the better team. You know, they just took down M80. They're on a hot streak. They've
you're saying the opposite.
Series.
You're thinking it's TTR.
Yeah, I'm thinking TTR. TTR.
Okay.
I think they're coming into this hot. I mean, look at them. They're a team who went into the playoffs fresh off of beating M80, right? Everybody was looking at as the #1 team. They take them down and then they immediately lose their best player. We did. Not only is he the best player on the team, but he statistically had the second highest stats of the entire stage 1, all 5 weeks, second only behind M80 Xander, right? So this is a powerhouse player who is bringing a lot of firepower for them, as well as being the energy and vibes guy and overall goofball of the team. And that's a big hit for a team to lose points in all of these categories and have to go into this event with a substitute. But they pulled in Silence, who's been absolutely phenomenal at filling the gaps. He's not popping off and becoming, a star player for them like Weeded has. But everybody else has stepped up around him, right? And what that says to me is that this is a well-rounded team. This is a team that doesn't rely on any stars, any one player to get the job done. They have a phenomenal IGL in Stellar, who's coming off of a stint in 100 Thieves for the past few years at the tier 1 level. Very good IGL and obviously very good mechanically, as we saw yesterday. And all these other guys around him who have each stepped up in their own way, right? So this is a cohesive unit. I think this is something that we're looking at as greater than the sum of its individual parts.
I mean, let's talk about a couple of those individual parts, though, coming out from both teams, because you were talking about Stellar, and Stellar had a absolutely wonderful performance yesterday, but not the only IGL here, Vans, that was able to step up. Both of the calling from both of these IGLs was spectacular, but also able to step up in their own moments to make sure they could deliver for the team as well. And so rounded, I mean, clearly why these teams were able to make it to this point as well.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're looking at Mitch on the other end, I know we were, pumping the tires here for Stella, how good he is, but I think Mitch is another great IGL fragging for the team. You've seen how well and how good of a performance he can put on Bind when they were playing yesterday against MXS. And when it comes down to the IGLing of Mitch, if you look at that third map on Split, Oxygen had probably like the best calls coming through on how they were able to take advantage of MXS playing a lot more passively and giving so much space for Oxygen to work with on Split. So if you're giving that opportunity here for a structured team this time around in comparison to Turtle Troop, who's playing a little bit more loose, I think you're still going to see that structure and the firepower that Oxygen brings to the table to take it over to the series, which is why, again, I'd like to disagree with Don saying that he's saying, yes, the loose style and Stellar being great IGLs and Silence being able to fill the shoes of We Did will be good enough. But I think that lack of structure, because there's less time that they had to practice with Silence versus what Oxygen has been building through the offseason until now, plus with the coaching of Blancard, I think they're looking really good to take this series once again because of those reasons.
Yeah, they sure are. And I mean, both teams have IGLs who have a ton of experience at the top level, coming off of stints from tier 1 teams, leading teams with lots of players in the past who have a ton of experience themselves, right? So I think this is really a battle of the IGLs, as we saw in that graphic. Both IGLs leading their teams extremely well in the macro level, but as well as stepping up individually and being these high power fragging IGLs that we see more and more often these days. I mean, Stellar putting up 174 damage per round yesterday against M80, the number 1 seed, number 2 seed coming into this. I mean, that's not something easy to do. So
that's true.
Both of these teams have great leaders, solid IGLs, and I'm really looking at this as a battle of the IGLs going into today.
I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these two teams go up against each other, especially too with that battle of the IGLs that's being kind of set up, because there's a lot going into this. Very recent performances being able to base off of each other, but these two weren't in the same group. So despite their own performances in each individual group, they haven't matched up against each other since November with very different looks. So
Yes.
I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to shake up heading into today's match. And of course, we do have our map picks and bans to see where we're going to be kicking it off for the series for the team. And to start off, Turtle Troop fans, they're going to be taking us to Icebox. They banned this up against M80 because M80 is so good on it. But other than that, Turtle Troop, they haven't been necessarily shy of this map.
I think this is what's really fun when you're looking at the map picks for today, having Icebox and Breeze as the first and floater map for both of these teams, because for both TTR and Oxygen Esports, it's been maps that they've been banning as their first pick, depending on the weeks and depending against what teams. So I find it very interesting that they're leaving it through in the playoffs and playing it a lot more. And I think it's also based on what they saw yesterday for Turtle Troops versus Oxygen, when Oxygen brought out the Reyna over for Redux over on that side, and it wasn't like the best performances on that side, just because MXS had a very strong Icebox. Not saying that their Icebox were bad, but I think for TTR they probably noticed something that they could take advantage of, which is why they're gonna let this float. But the thing is too, for TTR, they haven't been playing like I think they might come out with a new comp that might even counter that overall against Oxygen.
Yeah, and to touch on what you were saying earlier, Vans, I mean, with Oxygen playing a bit more of a structured style, I think this is an opportunity for Turtle Troop to take it to a much more brawly map where they can rely on their firepower, rely on their wackiness, their silliness, if you will, to get these first bloods, to get these rounds in their favor. So I think this is a good pick for Turtle Troop coming in to really put them on the back foot early. And then inversely on Oxygen's side, picking into Bind, I mean, this is a map where Turtle Troop has only played twice in all of Stage 1 and Midseason Cup. They played it once in Week 1 and again yesterday, or 2 days ago rather, versus Blind. So this is a map where Turtle Troop might not have the most experience and might be feeling a little bit uneasy going into it, but I'll be the one to say it. I'm disappointed no Lotus. I was really looking forward to seeing Scuba back on the Clove.
I'm normally very much so. You know what? I'm okay with no Lotus, but I do agree I would have loved to see a little bit more Scuba Clove coming on out. But what I'm intrigued with going over to Icebox is when we saw Oxygen play this yesterday, I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking about TTRs and some of the quirkier things that they'll play. But Vance, we did get to see Redux go over to the Reyna, and I don't necessarily think that it was the pick that worked out necessarily the greatest, considering the potential of this young duelist. So I'm intrigued if they're going to run it back, how he's going to do today, or if they'll kind of swap that up for him.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't feel like their composition, the way that they approached the map with that composition was necessarily bad. It was just because when they played against MXS played different initiators, right? They had the double flashes with a KO instead, which brought a lot of value to really take over how Oxygen kind of played their map on Icebox. So I think if anything, you learn from your mistakes and you can maybe min-max what you've learned from that match previously and maybe keep the Reyna. Because even in the post-match interview, when you actually had Redux had the conversation with Dan Dryad, he did mention like Reyna is still pretty good for me. I'm very comfortable with our agent. So maybe it's just trying to figure out how they could take more advantage of that Reyna in the way that they want to work the map.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of whereabouts they fix some mistakes going into this, because it's like now we're into the grand finals here, and I think too, looking how this map pick and select has gone down, that this could be a 3-mapper. So heading into the agent select, I would love to know your thoughts about kind of where we are stacking up with these teams, especially with the compositions coming on out.
Oh, and there it is, Redux back on the Reyna, so it'll be interesting to see what Oxygen have adjusted to kind of work this a little bit better in their favor. But I think just looking at the compositions, both are a little bit unorthodox from what we typically see on these maps, but they're good comps, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Turtle Troop a little bit more, I think. But like I said, this will be a brawly map. I would expect Turtle Troop a lot of in-your-face plays, a lot of on-the-fly mid-round decision-making, and a lot of trying to play outside of the box that Oxygen are trying to put Turtle Troop inside of with their structure.
Yeah, and Turtle Troop, if you're looking at it, there has been an agent change, right? When they had the Cypher and the KO before, this is what they want to bring out. So like I said, trying to take advantage of what Oxygen's weakness was using a double initiator against them. But the extra thing too is that they're putting B-Dog on the Omen, so they're leveraging the verticality and the TPs that B-Dog could bring and the smokes to block the vision to try to fight back against Oxygen. So this is a comp, like I said, that's fully changed, that's made to try to counter what Oxygen brought to the table.
Yeah, and we're seeing this more and more, right? Where these duelist players are getting thrown onto the Omen or the Brimstone in these no duelist compositions. So it's something we've seen work with Cryo. It's something we've seen work with Tens at the top level. So I'm interested to see how it works out here with B-Dog.
We're not going to have to wait any longer. It's time to kick off with the grand finals here in the Mid-Season Cup and toss over to Uber and Wyatt for Icebox.
Uber Wyatt, grand finals!
Thank you very much. Yes, it's me. Your boy, with Wyatt, your other boy.
Yeah, all right. I mean, it's caught me off guard there a little bit, but listen, I appreciate it. Hype me up, validate me. I'll take it. I like it.
The bat chest gas up of the boys pre-game, not something that I was necessarily ready for. This is such an interesting game. I mean, these two teams, as has been discussed, just haven't played each other on virtue of being on two different sides, of these two groups here in Challengers. And many people were looking at Oxygen with a middling showing in Group A at 3-2, not expecting them to be here. But those games against MXS, Wyatt, you never know which way they're going to go. They're very volatile, always. Seeing them here against Turtle Troop, though, playing for the lion's share. Let's just be clear here. The lion's share of $17,000. It's $11K for first, 6 for second, but also 6 circuit points on the line. Turtle Troop, even if they lose here, are going to come out of this game with the most circuit points in Challenges.
A result that no one would have expected given how they were playing early on in the season. Both teams, as you mentioned with Oxygen, they had that tumultuous regular season. Oxygen started slow against Moy Shopify, got a few nice wins in the middle, and then lost at the end to Core, which was a huge upset. For Turtle Troop, it was a slow start with a gradual incline as the season went on. And now they've arrived in the finals, 2 victories over N80 in the past month. They've been so solid under the leadership of Stellar, a very experienced in-game leader, and now up against one of the teams that everyone expected to be in that big 3 coming into the season, and one of the teams with a serious shot at qualifying into partnership when it's all said and done here.
We'll have your game sound for you in just a moment, folks. Jumping straight on in here, big changes to the Turtle Troop composition. Now going double flash, getting rid of the Sova. We'll see that early Omen one-way here to slow things up, but Redux is unperturbed. The Viper Wall means that Oxygen can move up here and get within striking distance of Turtle Troop immediately.
That Omen one-way was laid down for B main, but they have more than enough flashes, this Oxygen comp, to work through it. Syncing up that Dizzy and Alir from Reyna can be pretty annoying to deal with. Look at this, it looks like they want to just flash through this wall.
Redux going to go for it there. I think they're trying to spot them out with 0 point, but it doesn't catch. The Dizzy finds good purchase. Stellar and Nat are able to combine here for 3 total. And now it's all up to Verno. He's made his way all the way to the back of the map here, and already Wingman is going to go to work with this defuse. Gets it to half. Verno stuck here. And Oxygen absolutely decimated by that Stellar util.
A lovely Dizzy coming over the top to save Adder there. It looked like Adder was going to be ruined. He thought that Dizzy was not going to pass by the wall in Snowman. Just catches him. Such good supportive utility. And clean shots from Adder as well. One of these Challengers players that we've been looking at for the past 2 years to, really ascend the ranks, make a claim that they should be one of the partnership players in Americas. So much hype behind this guy last year, and more than deservedly so.
With some dirty deadlock tricks, as we've seen over the last couple of series for the Troop. But that Ascent map got banned out by Oxygen. They do not want a bar of it. Into the second here. Tentative probes from Oxygen. Not fully committing on that B side of the map as Redux here. Very aware of that flash util that could get thrown their way. B-Dog back to Rafters here. Might look to one-way pipes or something similar. Dapper's about to see Corey here. This turret takes contact.
Those one-ways are going to be very annoying to work through, and defensively, you can really see the benefit of the Omen, aside from being able to cycle some of these early smokes to slow down the Oxygen efforts or force out the flashes. Having those extra smokes for retakes are really, really valuable.
Redux a little quicker on the trigger finger, though, punishing Stellar. Now they have control of the side pretty instantly there. B-Dog had no choice but to get out. The Leo got thrown in. Pretty sure he also heard the Dizzy at work.
Spike planted.
Oni now playing from the top side of the map. The weapons are better here for Turtle Troop at least, but they're going to play this post plant, and all of Oxygen is stacked up and high-low setup. Pipes is conceded here, but Oxygen now can flood in on any sort of retake attempt. B-Dog's good for 1, and Corey with the Guardian playing from that low ground will be the sole player left here for Turtle Troop, and he's about to get very, very busy. No accompanying joke this time. It's a pickaxe to the shoulder for Corey. He needs to make this work. The Mitch locks it down, and Oxygen get back in this awful quick.
That just straight up comes to shots being hit. Redux on the Reyna for a reason. One of the best we have mechanically in the Challengers scene. And those Sheriff shots were just nasty. They bought 2 into the round, and now we're able to carry over that Guardian, the Bulldog as well. Flipping the game on its head early. Turtle Troop are going to try to do the same back to them. 2 Sheriffs purchased in the hands of Adder and B-Dog here.
Stella already with 5 orbs towards that Thrash. Many of those getting funneled in his direction.
Mish with 6 as well. Has the spike in hand, of course, because that Wingman makes the plant so easy. So if things get scrappy here towards the post plant, that Thrash might be useful for closing out the round.
Firelink super sub here for Turtle Troop. Here's the Aldrin come through and gives a bit of ground. Eventually, Turtle Troop will have to play from behind this Viper wall. That now comes up. Away they go. Leader paved the way for Redux now. And the rotations are getting pulled across pretty darn quickly. Nothing indicating that Oxygen aren't intending to NB, but they're being very slow about it. And this is what Don said. This is a very structured team. Full setup here now for the side hit. They're going to move on up. Going to be a high Leah to catch out and force him away off that angle. Nice dizzy connection on a Corey, but somehow we're still able to find the shot on Redux with a classic of all weapons. Scuba's in a bit of an awkward position now, but it doesn't matter. Spray down for 3 in total. And Oxygen are looking good.
Oxygen are really pressing the issue here on B, fighting forward. And on some of these full gun rounds that are going to come up, I think it might be to their own demise. It's so tough with this new version of Icebox to get safe positions around the site. You can just get shot from so many different angles, and you can see that happening to Scuba. He gets out of there with a sick spray transfer, but he was on the cusp of going down. He's not going to hit that every day. He's getting shot in the back, shot from the side. Almost gave away that rifle for no reason. I mean,
okay.
That rifle has been given away.
Well, they had no choice because they're not sure that Omen smoke on the bomb cost Oxygen a lot of resources. Here's that little spray down here towards the end of the round. Ah, yes. Hit him so freaking hard. He ended up in a different map. That's what I'm talking about. Nicely done, Redux.
Just a little reminder of how well Stellar played yesterday against M80, how clutch he's been.
Right there.
Putting up some good individual performances while being the IGL. And now we've got an operator on the field from B-Dog. He's going to be posted up towards B main. And that should allow the rest of Turtle Troop to be focused on other areas of the map, mainly right now towards mid.
Monster on the loose.
Here's that Thrash. Early as they come. Does a little bit of a circuit, realizes that A is clear and the Turtle Troop are playing for the full retake here.
Go again.
Might be a little bit frustrating behind some of these Omen one-ways already. B-Dog getting those assembled. He has to peer into this A site with an operator though. When he eventually gets here. And you better believe he will. But Oxygen have not really had to commit too much, and Wyatt, they don't really touch the backside either.
Rash isn't done with you.
That Diz is going to come in. Turtle Troop going to try to scale off of it, but they can't find a timing because the Thrash shuts them down.
They caught Ada. No chance for Oxygen to follow up here and try and pick the Killjoy, but they get what they wanted. They've really interrupted the timing here for Turtle Troop. Stella's very low, has to drop behind Jenny, and it's easy for Verno to send a shock dart to clean up that kill. Now, though, Hotfoot across the entirety of Oxygen. Corey trying to push up here. Verno able to hold his ground. Pipes is a decent spot to be for Redux, but gets doubled down on. And eventually it's going to be Scuba. B-Dog has to challenge with an operator. He's better off trying to save this weapon here, and he knows it. Ooh, 5 HP in a dream. Trying to get out. And there's no way he's holding onto this gun.
Oh, they just risk it all to hunt him down, and there's no reason they shouldn't. Oxygen's economy has been really solid, despite losing 4 players to the spike now, just on account of ecoing on round 2 and carrying over some of those early Guardians and Bulldogs. Turtle Troop forced back onto the eco now. They can afford to buy up some Sheriffs and Light Armors and still have enough for the next. Going to attempt to work towards some of these ults too. Adder and Corey getting very close. And Stellar has that Thrash if a couple of headshots are hit, if things are starting to get close. Try and win back an eco of their own.
Oxygen, again, slow opener for them. But this is a level of conditioning as well. We've seen them apply to many teams on their way here. It means those fast hit rounds come far less expectedly. Verno has pipes at least, and she's checking that back left corner. Redux more than happy to play from behind this now. Poison orb thrown over in the screen's direction here, so gonna be hard to cover that. Might not have been placed perfectly here, but Redux gets himself traded out. It's fine though, because Mitch and Dapper fill the space in behind him, and Wingman is gonna get to work.
Oxygen a lot more focused on overwhelming the site there, scaling back site to assist Redux than getting the spike down early. Small little micro decision, but it pays off and just keeping some of those players alive, keeping things a little bit safer.
One enemy remaining.
Parrot got picked off on the flank, so Oxygen know that Silex is on the prowl. Silex playing extremely tentatively here, checking literally every angle on this flank, realizing that the opportunity for a defuse is long since passed him by. So being able to get a weapon or 2 out of Oxygen's hands as this economy begins to burgeon is going to be the most important part of the round. Unfortunately, you can't achieve that either. It's a 3-round buffer as Oxygen start to get real cash flush.
Turtle Troop have a lot of work to do to get back into this half, and they know it. They're going to take that timeout here for round 6. A pivotal time for the timeout, given the status of the ultimates across the board for both sides. There were players on Oxygen just one off of getting their ult 2, Dapper being the critical one, could have the lockdown here if they fight early for that B orb. And Oxygen's game plan has really just been working to a T so far. They're slowing things down in the mid-round, contacting up, and then exploding onto the site. And it's worked like a charm. 4 rounds in a row now. Turtle Troop wanted to shut that down with the AWP on B-Dog towards B, but on that round they hit A, and their setups for the post plants have just been so good as well.
I think that having a flash duelist here as well is something that's like pretty underexplored. But you've noticed that Oxygen don't have to spend a ton of utility on these hits. I mean, you know, by comparison, I think we've seen Redux throw that leader in, get the site. Maybe Dizzy comes out but gets cycled later on. There's so much for Oxygen to work with because, you know, you have that extra leer to rely on.
And there is going to be a difference for sure on how Turtle Troop and Oxygen can play some of these scenarios on defense, and that Redux can push up, get a kill, and, you know, fade away on that Reyna, get away. These Turtle Troop players, when they're getting aggressive, they're pretty committed. But B-Dog finds an excellent timing on Verno.
It's a great variation. Big pick off here. Redux, though, struggle to find more than just the trade in many of these rounds. But it's been the follow-up on what Redux has done that's been crucial for Oxygen to get this 3-round lead. This time, though, it's a little bit more labored. See, the spike there went loose instantly as Verno got picked off.
Yeah, a lot of individual exploration across the map from Oxygen. Though Verno just certainly did not expect that aggressive push forward from B-Dog. That is one of the areas where you can get pretty proactive, teleporting up to belt early, catching that timing, teleporting to pipes.
Dapper is down here, so no early warning system for the flank, and Oxygen have to know that it's probably coming in the next few moments. But they don't know they're going A, so Stella's out of the fight for the time being. He can't get involved here. Corey there holds the angle. It's an easy crossfire to put together for Turtle Troop. And off the back of that little variation from B-Dog at the start of the round, they're back in this.
I definitely want to see them to continue to fight for some of the early space like that. That was the first round where Oxygen were actually playing a bit more spread. Perfect timing from B-Dog there. And he is the one who's going to have to be the tip of the spear in these aggressive plays. He is that pseudo duelist when you play the no duelist Icebox comp.
Here's the pings. Turtle Troop maybe setting up for something aggressive early again. Yes, this time it's to pipes though. The B-Dog not quite as in Oxygen's face, but still hoping to stir up a little bit of early round action. But again, Oxygen, they drop the pace quite considerably here. Redux a little bit uncertain about what might be awaiting on the other side of pipes. Verno's intuition also correct as B-Dog is lying in wait. Turtle Troop now choking the pace of the round.
Looks like they're going to leave Verno there. Yeah, he pops his drone just to try and fake that presence, and with the tag on B-Dog, it'll force him out in an attempt to keep these Turtle Troop players thinking that the A hit will eventually come.
There's no map control here for Oxygen, though. And we have less than a minute left in the round. Now they have to re-clear all of this space. Pipes and all the rest. B-Dog sticks that TP out.
Yeah, they have to re-clear it, but that noise cut did bait 2 of the players from Turtle Troop off the site. Corey and Stellar made that rotate to B, and B-Dog's actually full committed to this. He made a drop sound, too.
He sees nothing. His own one-way makes it impossible for him to know what's coming. Now he knows, though. Recon comes in. Wingman does get stymied, but B-Dog is going to get absolutely clapped here. Dapper backs away. Okay, going to go for a fairly early lockdown, combined with the Viper's pick here. Both teams committing those Killjoy ultimates. Mitch now has to get out of range of this, but the spike is already down.
And they stopped her.
Okay, that's a lockdown down for Oxygen. Turtle Troop's over still active. Now they can start threatening a potential defuse. Scuba, though, wants to slow him up. Turtle Troop getting pretty aggressive off the back of this now, and Mitch at least has the high ground to play from. There's so many targets, and he gets all of them. And Wingman to boot. No defuse now, and Corey's stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Turtle Troop's composition is really playing for these retakes, but they need B-Dog to pull it off. having him alive there with the smokes to cut off a position like Belt when the spike is planted out in the open to be spammed from Belt would have been crucial. But with him playing forward, making that drop sound, he was all but dead when his feet touched the ground there on the site.
Isolate and
If they're going to play for retake, they really have to do it in a position like that.
That noise cut, absolutely devastating. I don't think Turtle Trooper... Well, they're struggling to get a feel for the pace here that Oxygen are playing at, Wyatt. They had 4 people off the A side, and B-Dog had also TP'd out. You're going to get caught early here. Harness Fury finds its mark. This is a very low buy for Turtle Troop. Really not much to work with at all. Still no plant quite yet, and Verno is actively watching the flank here as opposed to just allowing the turret to do the work. But that's what they're expecting.
Enemy remaining.
Mitch able to swing on that one pretty easy. It's just Corey left, and he'll be brought down in response.
A simple anti-eco. And at this point, I do want to draw attention to the fact that this was Turtle Troop's pick. They played it 2 times in the season, handily beating the Glazers the first, and then getting destroyed by M80 the second. That was exactly to the day 1 month ago. They've switched their comp since then, but it is still interesting to see them pick this into Oxygen. You have to imagine it's because of Oxygen's loss to Moist Shopify.
Let's move.
But a pretty sizable risk from Turtle Troop nevertheless. It looks like B-Dog is going to go for an aggressive play here again with Corey. This duo on A has been trying to gain this space and fight early.
This time, though, that recon actually catches Corey. So Oxygen are wise to some of this early aggression, and still, Verno opts to peek into it. Selling some action over on A at the cost of his own health points. He eventually pulls away. Thrash is heading over towards B, looking to check it out here. Yep, there it is. Scuba able to capitalize. Silence at max range, I think. Got detained by that Thrash. It's an easy pick-off for Oxygen and a devastating start to this gun round for Turtle Troop.
Just playing these B hits a little bit differently. On the previous rounds when they went for them, it was essentially a 5-man, but now they've left Dapper, this lurk in tube. Fighting forward, though, faster, Turtle Troop. I like the pace of this from them.
Yeah, I mean, pretty huge behind his KO ultimate, right? None of these flashes that you're bringing into the fight are any use to you right now. Great window for Turtle Troop to surge forward.
Fantastic speed on that from Turtle Troop. Working quickly to scale up to yellow and take the fights, making that flank player entirely irrelevant. And that was really the first time Oxygen did that towards B. They're going to be forced onto the timeout here. Or I say forced. It's not really forced onto the timeout. More so, Turtle Troop have finally put something together. And they might as well use it now to try and continue the lead into this half.
Pistol here, of course. This is the last few rounds as they played out. That early aggression on Verno was an inflection point. Adam being able to lock things down. Normally playing Cypher on this map. Making the switch over to the more standard Killjoy. It was a nice little clutch there from Mitch for the high ground. Here's how that round went, though. Silence here is caught. And then that null command absolutely ruins Oxygen's ability to fight back as Turtle Troop surge forward and just lean into all that KO util.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of these rounds so far, it's been the moments of noise cut from Oxygen that have really put Turtle Troop in a bad position for the late rounds. But even still, the crux of them winning this, to me, continuing to rack up defensive sides, are going to be playing for the retakes like that with this composition. It excels in those situations. You're seeing Verno on the map again towards A early. Oxygen have really just been trying to use him as a fake over towards this site multiple rounds in a row, and you have to expect the Turtle Troop are getting wise to it, but also in the case of Oxygen, you know, they could try to use Verno there eventually to just go for a full A hit, but make it seem like he's just lurking again.
Well, why is that conditioning round as far as they go? You see, Redux trying to get up on the high ground. What? Caught by the fragment of all things. No, this is ugly. 3v3 though. Ada still holds that mid angle. Gets rid of the turret, giving away his position, but they knew he was there already. Make no mistake. Plant going to go down under dark cover.
Spike planted.
Scuba looking worse for wear, and Verno got spotted heading towards Snowman. But Stella, even with only walling, can't stop him. Ada surely can bring him down, but not before Verno finds 3 in the round. And now it's the Killjoy in a 1 versus 2. Both Oxygen players have retreated back to yellow. And Nana has to try and find a way, in fairness, with all this health, to unravel them. Bit of damage, but only glancing blows on Dapper. He swings into 2, and there's no way you're winning that one. Oxygen, a scrappy round, but they come out on top.
A good effort to swing their wall. The molly was on the ground. The crosshairs descended to it. But still running into that 2-man setup behind Yellow. Going to be so difficult for Adder to crack. Turtle Troop were in prime position to win that in the 4v3, but Silex takes a fight while the spike was on the ground, still not yet recovered. Just a confident play, and it is Turtle Troop's undoing. Simply did not need to go down there. They can hold the positions and wait for the spike tap to flood.
Revealing area.
All right, here's that early recon here to try and clear out green. Corey wants to stick around, though. He actually recommits into yellow here. Does not want to give up this space so easily. It's a bit of an awkward buy round, and Corey just... I mean, he just buys the farm. Swings out there into probably 5 players. Instantly blown up.
Just doing way too much. You know, if he wants to fight forward towards yellow, it's not something they've really done before. Mostly playing behind the wall. That's fine. But he can't just take a haphazard swing like that off of his own flash. At the very least, Stellar is there. Try to combo it with a Dizzy. Go for a double peek or wait for some sound and then throw the 2 flashes. Swing off that.
And Oxygen have no reason to take any undue risks here. They slow things down. They definitely do show that they're here to stay, but they're confident in their numbers. There goes Wingman. That's not a plant. That is a fake. Trying to draw some more of these defenders out of position here. Okay, Scuba steps up now.
30 seconds
Wall
left.
drops, but they're going to plant behind this anyway. They want to take the fight. B-Dog more than happy to acquiesce, though, when Silence with the classic is able to find one. That evens up the numbers. Silence would love to get closer and employ this judge, and it's all going to come down to that weapon. Not nearly enough. Mitch, another 3K in the round.
He's stepped up so much in the playoffs individually, Mitch. It was that last game in the season against Core that he had a very disappointing performance, going -25, losing to a team that they certainly feel like they shouldn't be. And since then, has just kicked it into high gear, giving that additional layer of fragging power to a team that is already just filled to the brim with solid players, incredibly mechanically sound players.
Revealing area.
Another look towards A here early. B-Dog goes for the early aggression, and again, there's a recon. He doesn't have anyone to cover it for him, so it lights him up, and he backs up.
Mitch is going to get close with that Thrasher as well and be able to clear out so much of that close area on the site towards 410, towards Generator.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Here he goes. Okay, shut down there by the 0 point. Good response here from the defenders. Oh, Redux caught there. Looking the wrong way. B-Dog able to collapse on him there. And another beautiful shot. This Guardian going to work. Mitch toppled from the height of pipes. And now a lockdown. Another ultimate committed by the attackers in a 3v5. Adamant, of course, about winning this last round of the half. Stella, though, happy to hang around for a time. He's at risk of getting caught, though. He will be. Yep, detained, but will be covered inside screens. There's going to be a Viper spit now also for the attackers. So many ultimates to spend, but still a 2-player disadvantage. They're going to back away post-plant.
Stellar does have that wingman available when he puts it on the spike. Oxygen, of course, they're going to have to spam. They all have Vandals. Turtle Troop will be able to see the tracers and try to capitalize off that.
That 0 point doesn't catch the Viper playing close, so the pit stays up. Stellar just spamming through it here. B-Dog going hunting and gets punished instantly. Verno happy to drop down off of pipes now. Dapper inside the pit, more than happy to take some contact, and it's a beautiful adjustment to take the head clean off Adder's shoulders. Now you have the player advantage. You have the pit. And you have Turtle Troop under an extreme time crunch. Dapper's able to come forward, take another one, and that should be enough. Corey can't get it done. And Oxygen get a whopping 9 rounds on the attacking side.
Switching
A
sides.
fantastic attacking half. Turtle Troop could not find the answer. I was really hoping to see more in terms of Stellar and Corey using some of those flashes, the Dizzy, with Corey's flash in tandem to find moments to catch players, fight aggressively, but it just didn't really come enough. You know, there was that one retake on B where they had a really nice pace where that was the case, but overall just not enough for me in that regard. Oxygen's noise cuts on so many of those rounds were really nice. Turtle Troop just did not know how to rotate around it.
Well, they don't have a lot of ways to get like great info as well. I mean, they are playing the Sovalus composition, which is not a cardinal sin, but you know, they're often playing off the 0-point timings. And with Corey normally on defense was throwing that quite early to try and see if Verno was going to make himself susceptible to that early aggression from someone like B-Dog. I mean, yeah, Turtle Troop just, again, it was a pace issue, right? There's a couple of rounds where they obviously walk off B. They really expect something, walk off A, excuse me. They really expect something is happening over at B and get mega punished for it. In that last round, I don't know, Oxygen just had 4 ultimates, so, you know, fair enough. I will point out, Wyatt, though, on the attacking side, Redux struggles to even trade in some of these rounds. Like, really is giving himself up here early so that Oxygen can sort of get in behind him and capitalize. On this defense side, though, I expect Redux can probably have a bit of an easier time.
For sure. You're going to be able to, not going to be able to, but rather you're going to see him pushing up and be able to escape when he finds some kills on the Reyna there. Even when he's not putting up big numbers, he still plays with that confidence and plays his role. I mean, that's exactly what you said about him in the first half, and it's exactly true. The team was always able to swing off of him when he was, you know, getting up, when he was on the ropes going from Nest into the A site, playing up top, taking those deep fights. His team was swinging, trading effectively. And listen, he didn't get a lot of kills, but the ones he did were massive impact, because I'm just thinking back to round 2, where they ecoed Turtle Troop just off of Turtle Troop winning the pistol, and it was because Redux just waltzed into the A site and hit 2 Sheriff headshots. So, listen, he played his role. He did his job for sure.
We had a tech pause there just as the player's camera needed to be adjusted. We're going to be back into the action momentarily here. Pistol, obviously, very important for Turtle Troop. Let's hope to have something set, as it looks like at least this 0 point will be well and truly lined up. Be wary of the Reyna fighting in the site. Oxygen don't have to just play for retake. They don't have to just give it up. They can throw down quite happily.
Don't worry. I'll keep them.
It looks like Turtle Troop are going to try to make a lot of early presence towards B. Probably a Dizzy going into main from Stellar. There it is, and that knife is going to land yellow. Meanwhile, over on A, 2 players trying to collect some space here, with the KJ Turp Adder watching for that deep push. Working the map on both sides right now, Turtle Troop. This is a good open from them so far.
Oxygen here do have a player drifting already over. That's Dapper towards mid. They've really tried to hedge here for a bit of B action, but Spike, as we can see, is heading elsewhere. It's a slow approach for Turtle Troop. Redux is going to see some action. Oh, we love a freebie. Okay, has to break line of sight to the corpse, so doesn't get the full healing and takes some shots back, but I mean, you're happy with that. You got a lot of information, and this is not enough to pull Oxygen away. You see, trending back towards B is Verno.
Little man.
That did draw 1 rotate off. And now, Turtle Troop, they made a ton of noise B. They're going to try to work back to A. Redux is holding a passive angle. So long as he doesn't get another, left. This should be a post-plant situation here.
No slurp available for Redux, so now I have to play a little bit more carefully. All right, B-Dog getting caught here. He's having to go again for that plant. Some free damage being done. Redux eventually brought down. Corey with Util in hand gets caught on that left-hand side as he swings out. Stella has to crouch into it.
1 enemy remaining.
He's able to win it out. And Stella comes away with 4. Nicely done by Turtle Troop. A must-win round converted.
Don't get shot.
Really big from Stellar. I love how they worked that round. Oxygen were just so spread across the map. You could see at one point they were baited all the way towards B. They went to a 3-1-1, 3 players on B, and it was because of Stellar and Corey using their rechargeable utility over there, so they were able to cycle it later, getting some space on A at the same time, just leaving their options open. Really nicely played from them. 2 pistols in this game. They got ecoed after the first win in the first half.
Experiment complete.
Love that from B-Dog. Raw aggression here. Dismiss has to be used now for Redux, but there's too far to go to get to safety. Stella's able to punish. Oxygen release fighting doggedly at the start of the round. Do some damage, but need more of it. This will be a very elementary flowchart the round follows. As Wingman goes about his business and isn't bothered by the shock.
Importantly from Stellar too, because of 4 kills on the pistol, a kill here gets the orb and the plant. He's already got a thrash for round 3.
And it's huge timing. It's about as early as you can get it, realistically. Dapper. Yeah, doesn't want any of that smoke, but has no choice. Would love to die to the spike, but that's not really an option here. Giving over yet another ult orb. And Hannah would love an earlier lockdown if possible. Verno here not really trying to do anything outside of die inevitably to the spike. I see the idea for Dapper. The chance here of stripping a weapon overshadows his fear of giving an ult orb, and he hangs around. But that'll be that. Turtle Troop get 2 in a row.
And they've got a really good shot at winning the bonus here.
Shadows.
Again, just drawing attention to Stellar being able to get the thrash ready here for round 3. Weaponry not too bad. With 3 Guardians, a Bulldog. Could take some of those nice long-range fights over at B from main towards Snowman if the wall is down. Alternatively, taking fights on A from the belt area to any players who may be peeking at the jump-up box from sight. But it doesn't look like anyone will be passively peeking from jump-up box on sight. It looks like Oxygen want to go forward here and take the fight to them.
You're goddamn right. Redux playing close. Leo would have been great. Doesn't quite have the timing there as the 0 point came in, but still able to find a very cheeky kill and back up. Here's Thrash though. From the top screens, Mitch hoping to bring it down before it found its mark, but it connects with Redux. Starlink's desperately trying to follow up on it here, and you can see in desperation, Oxygen want to prevent this from happening. Redux leaves himself out once more. Now he's free from under rafters and takes another fight. Despite being detained, the Rain has found 2 kills in this round. B-Dog's pushed up very far, realizes as the smoke clears, it's time to back away. They have the spike plant. But Turtle Troop at a player disadvantage.
They have it planted for them. Stellar's in a tough position here. No one can really help him. Silex is going to attempt to take contact from 410. I think his barrel was just spotted there, though, Stellar.
No mosh pit available for Mitch, though, so has to clear this manually. Oh, yeah, it's easily done. Stellar brought down as a dark cover dumped right on top of his head. The Silex here will be the one to try and interrupt alongside B-Dog. Very powerful position up on this high ground for B-Dog, but can't connect the Bulldog shots. And so the bonus does not come up for Turtle Troop. Oxygen finally getting into this half and only a few rounds away from that magic number.
They wanted to play a deep setup backside A. It seemed like, or conversely, they were only deep backside A because they really wanted to capitalize off Redux getting stunned by the thrash. Silex was trying so hard to get that kill, but was really getting scrambled. Missed the molly, was trying to jump peek around the corner so he wouldn't go down. B-Dog was trying to get forward, and it all just falls apart as no one was able to get in a position to help each other effectively. Of course, they will still have the bye here.
Only aggression once more, as the ultimate orb was highly valued by Oxygen and Redux. Another freebie from that position is massive. The economy of Turtle Troop rides on this round, and so far they're off to an inauspicious start. All their pieces are committed to A. A lot of that KJ util over towards B, so early warning in place for Oxygen, and they are pinging out the approach of the Turtle Troop. 0 point finds nothing. Dizzy though gets a shot off. Gonna be Mitch dropping down from the rafters here. Might have more than he can handle. Nice Dizzy though from the defenders and Redux on the spray through, and Mitch is there with the damage. The Bulldog claims 3. Bark and Bite both hitting a little diff. There's Oxygen go up to 11.
Such confidence from Mitch specifically to drop down back sight, throw the Dizzy so Redux can fight from screens. Verno just making his way as swiftly as possible to get into the site to help them. They did not want to give that up. No desire to play that for retake, even though they were in a 5v4. Again, that is such confidence from them, and such confidence from Redux in all of these early rounds to continue taking these fights and hitting really, really good shots early on as well. Despite starting slow in the second half, it has not slowed down his willingness to play forward and take, risks
And
not even that they're massive risks when he's on Reyna, right? They're dependent on him getting kills, and he's able to get them.
We've had him interviewed multiple times, and that confidence pretty evident. I think every time we've kind of spoken to him there, we did mention, right, at halftime, expect to see this Reyna get much more involved now. This has to be a Turtle Troop pause, probably to address these early aggressive pops from the defenders. Figure out how they can avoid losing that into a player, because they're doing it on both sides, Oxygen. We saw the two players stacked up at green a few rounds back, right? Which didn't really go in their favor because, again, it was like an eco round from Oxygen. But they're willing to make these moves early, Wyatt. And that's an outlaw getting picked up from Redux, surely.
Sentry.
Yes.
And it is. Redux loves that weapon.
What a round for it, man.
Alarm bot out.
Right there.
Absolutely. 4 light armors, Stellar buying up into the hero rifle here, actually down to 350. That's going to be early B main control for Turtle Troop. Some of that standard cyclable utility, the 0 point that goes to yellow, the Dizzy to go close to clear out green. They're going to have to deal with Dapper back there.
One way is going to slow things down. Dapper's committed. He has not opted to back away, and Scooby's likely to get away with that one. The TP came in, and he has the reaction. The presence of mind to turn around and deal with it. Scuba eventually drops, but not before he finds 2 kills, and that is stunning from Dapper. 8 HP, all he needs to derail Turtle Troop one more time, and we're off to match point.
Match point.
So active at fighting on these defensive anchor positions are Oxygen. Dapper just working around yellow. Scuba knows that no matter what, he needs to fight with him here. He can't just play passively and let Dapper get overwhelmed. In all of these situations in which Oxygen are fighting on the sites, they are there for each other with such confidence in each other to pick up those missing angles. And crazy enough, Scuba coming into this game is actually the player with the best kills per round of anyone in this server.
Oh, there it is. You never know where it's going to come from. You just know for sure that Oxygen are going to go aggressive early on you. That anchoring, by the way, incredible. Something we didn't see from Turtle Troop at all. They played for retake constantly and gave up 9 defensive rounds in the end. Very quickly, we have the plant once more. Oxygen have to find a way in, and Thrash is going to pave it. Redux, this time under Empress, on the push in. Another leader to try and get him further in onto the site here, but it's been given up mostly by Turtle Troop. Oxygen are going to have to forge a little bit further ahead to try and clear them away from this. Corey, util in hand, spotted briefly. That will force Redux off the spike here, but he's going to go ahead. He is going to take a fight. And I'm hardly surprised to hear that. There's another one. Dismiss up on pipes. Corey, flattened from the high ground. It's 4 for Redux, and he's far from done. What an ace to finish it. Oxygen claim Icebox, and Redux reclaims his throne.
Defenders.
That is not human, and that is the reason why partnership teams are trying to get this guy into the league. They're trying to pick him up. That is outlandish from him. I'd love to see his stats at this point. At the end of the first half, Mitch, he was 5 for 12. How many first bloods did he get there even in the second half? What was that? 4 at least.
3 or 4.
Just taking that initial fight and the speed at which he was able to get his crosshair onto someone's head every single time was just so sick.
It's like it's the same dilemma we talk about, like Jets on Ascent, right? How it can be hard on the attacking side to like get out cleanly to find these easy picks and openers. And Redux had that same issue, but now defensively, he can play on the site. They anchored really well over on B. That's got nothing to do with him. But that early aggression here was something that B-Dog was trying to do on the side of Turtle Troop, but was trying kind of solo here. But the backup was incredible from Oxygen. They were vastly the better team on that kind of map here. And we head over to Bind for the next one, which Turtle Troop really struggled to close out against Blinn. I am definitely concerned for them in this series.
For sure. It's that ban of Ascent, which is clearly their home map, where they have Adder on the deadlock, a very unique approach that has gotten them win after win after win this season. No one has been able to deal with that composition. The best way to deal with it, ban the map. And that is what Oxygen did. And it forces Turtle Troop to try and pick Icebox into them, which has been mixed in results previously. And at this point, with this loss more negative than positive results. They're going to have to really rally back here on Bind.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff so far from Oxygen. Bind is on the horizon, but we're going to take a quick break and come back with their desk to break down the devastation we just saw and look ahead to our second map.
If I was stuck on a deserted island, I'd want to...
Huh? Jesus. Teammate I would not want with me is definitely...
If I was stuck on a desert island, I'd have to take Nismo. You know, he's a dad like me, so we'd find a way to make it work, and we'd probably get off the island successfully. The last teammate, probably Koala, I would say, and I have no reason why.
100% I'd want Nismo, because this guy's like, or Nitro, either one. Now that we have him, they're both like adults. They both like have a really good like knowledge on life. And the team that I probably wouldn't want is either BCJ or Xander, just because like we're younger, and especially me and Xander are just like both lazy people.
This is hard. Okay. The teammate that went with me is probably Nerve. He's a pretty hard worker and he's strong. Okay, he's a strong guy. So in terms of heavy lifting or getting stuff done, I think it'll be good. It's between Zeldris and Snarly for me. I don't think that they're going to work hard, and we're not going to work well together on the island. We're going to get into like arguments and disagreements and stuff like that.
I would take Corey with me, just because of one, his Rust experience, and two, we did play Raft as a team for a little bit, and he was probably the most like handy or crafty, I would say. So I'd hope that would shine through. Teammate I would not want to bring would probably be Matt, just because I don't know, he talks so much. No, it's not a bad thing, but he watches a lot of TikTok, and I'm not a big TikTok guy.
The teammate I would not want with me is definitely Moobs. This guy's just like an NPC, so I wouldn't want him. And then the teammate that I would want, I'd probably say Jerk, because he's the oldest and the most mature. So he definitely would get us out of the situation.
Probably Vic. Vic or Mod, because Mod is tall, but I don't think, even if you're tall, what do you like? He's not 13 foot tall. Like, he's not going to be able to grab like a coconut from a tree. Probably just Vic. Vic works out a lot. He's buff. He's got the stamina. I see him. He's hitting the gym every day. So I think for sure Vic. And then who I wouldn't want to go with is probably Mac. Mac is our coach. I really can't explain it, but I just know I don't want to be there with him.
The game starts long before the game starts. And warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
face.